All right, you guys, you know what it is. You know who it is. You clicked on one of my videos. You know it's Kensu, right? It's only me, of course, right? This is my channel, my video. Anyway, point of the matter is we got a new video from, this is Evo. They got a chance to meet the team behind Project L. You guys know I'm a big proponent of this game. Big League of Legends fan. Love League of Legends. And I obviously had a chance to play the game at Evo myself. Had a lot of fun with it. Especially with other friends as well. But I'm very curious to see what they got to say here. And I'm sure there's some pretty neat things that are going to be said in this video. So we're going to take some time out to take a look at this and see what they're talking about here. And I guess you could say we're just going to meet the team behind Project L. So buckle up. Let's take a look.
Translating a MOBA character into a 2D fighter is a daunting task. But at EVO 2023, I got to meet the team of developers, artists, and more that are taking on this challenge and learn about the people and direction that goes into the making of Project L.
Finding development talent that understands fighting games is actually a little hard because there's actually a lot of people that play these games, but not everybody thinks about them really deeply. So when we're building the team, we actually look for a healthy mix of people who really know the genre and can really bring a lot of that knowledge, and people who are brand new to the space so they can always be like the eyes of people who don't experience these things regularly. And then we just fuse the talent of those two perspectives together to try and find new opportunities while also bringing out older opportunities that like people may have forgotten.
Our team is composed of people that have never
This guy's
played a
cool as
fighting
hell.
game, all the way to pros that were formerly sponsored, and so it's a huge spectrum, and we get all these great viewpoints to make something that a ton of people can enjoy.
Feedback from people who don't play fighting games is super important because I can get really heady and very overly specific about certain things. VoiceOver is an example. I went really hard in researching how Japanese voice actors in particular do their efforts. And I went really way too deep in just trying to figure out how they did what they did. It took someone who doesn't play fighting games to just sort of wake me up a little bit and just be like, hey, words, lines, they need to be saying stuff to each other. That flashiness has to be there.
The head that sticks up soon leaves its body.
One of the great things that we do is some of the FGC talent, they're all super great, and they teach a lot of the non-players.
So we have regular play sessions where people teach. Patrick is an amazing teacher, and he spends a ton of time ensuring that the rest of the developers and our teammates and also influencers that come in understand how to play and can have a great time when they're experiencing Project L.
The challenges of taking a character from something like a MOBA and bringing them into a fighting game is simply, the biggest one is the camera perspective. There's so much that we've thought as a company about long and hard for a really long time about how to best communicate abilities and clarity and things like that in a top-down camera. Once we move the camera, everything changes. So we try to find a nice blend between this is what's happening over in the MOBA, this is what makes this character feel this way, and then we merge that with what works best for a fighting game. What are the things that people are looking for?
A lot of people, their first impression is, okay, you take the character, cool, they've already got moves, and you just put them in the game. We find that doesn't really make a very compelling fighting game character. What we really care about is kind of the essence of the character, what makes them them. And we don't just mean the lore, we mean when you're playing that character, what does it feel like to play as that character? What does it feel like to dunk as Darius or to spirit rush around with Ari? I often tell designers on the team to think about the kits as if the League character is an abstraction. Almost like the board game version of the real character, and you're making the real character, right? Make the real, dense, rich, complex, bold, big, multifaceted thing that the League kit has distilled down. And I think that helps people open their mind creatively and start thinking how can we make these characters even more exciting in some ways, than we've ever seen before.
For a character, voice I think is the easiest to talk about. So obviously the first thing that you want to think about is kind of who the character is, what kind of role that they have. An actor's ability to yell and just pretend to be heard, all that stuff is way more important in a fighting game than it would be in pretty much any other context.
I wander, but you are lost.
The other major thing is obviously the art style. We're going from games where it was more of a traditional 3D look to adapting to this 2D art style. It opens up a lot of different things. Our models are
They
modeled
literally
in a much different way than a traditional model because of the.
I feel like they legitimately just tried to copy ArcSys. Not that that's a bad thing, right? I feel like they definitely tried to look at ArcSys style. And I was like, how can we recreate that? Because they knew that a lot of people like the ArcSys style of video games in terms of the visuals. like Grand Blue, Guilty Gear, in particular, like Dragon Ball Fighters. Like I feel like they tried to recreate that, so it shows it itself, honestly. So I'm not really surprised here.
Certain specifics of our material system, our
Not a
flash
bad thing.
shading. There's a lot of different requirements that comes with that in terms of like how it looks when bones are deforming that mesh. It's just different, and there's different things you have to be aware of.
Being a tag fighter, it becomes much more difficult to balance things. You have to look at team combinations, points and assists, and different assists that they can do and things like that. Plus we have the fuse system, so it all adds up layers of complexity that you have to take into new scenarios into account.
People probably don't realize how much of the game has been designed with compatibility with either solo or duo play in mind. Every time we add a mechanic, every time we add, something to a character, we're thinking about not how does this work in solo, how does it work with two people behind them? Because with two people, it's a lot easier to get in each other's way. Imagine an assist with a hit that just like knocks the opponent incredibly far away. We have those, but we're very thoughtful about how we put them in because that's going to tend to break a combo more than an assist that holds the opponent in place on hit.
To be frank, it's been really challenging. It's a big swing. Our team is going to take big swings and we're going to miss and we're going to walk them back, when needed. And for 2v2 especially, we've all had a lot of experiences in the fighting game genre with 2v2 fighting games, but often they've kind of felt like this isn't the main game, or it's not built for this. And we want to try to build something from the ground up where you can just play with your friends and have a good time. But also, hey, if I want to go it alone or maybe my friend's not available, I could play by myself as a solo. And then, hey, like maybe we had 4 friends there and one had to leave. We can all still play together as solo versus duo, maybe raid boss mode. The strongest friend is by themselves. It's actually been quite tough. An example is like for duo play, we want to make sure the person off screen has enough to do, but also not too much or too little, and so as the game progresses, like we think it's cool that, they can coach their friend, hey, watch out for this thing, but still also feel like they're a part of the game, even if they like die early.
Bringing ProjectL to EVO has been one of the most rewarding things in my career. It's something where a community that I've been a part of and that I've been a fan of participating in for a really long time finally gets to experience a thing that we've been working for a really long time on.
Most of the folks working this are folks that we work with on our team at Riot and the devs working on the game. We want to connect with the community on that level, hear what you love, hear what you don't like, and really build this game together with you.
Community is the second most important thing. The first most important thing would just be making a really cool game. But the community is there to influence even how cool that game is. We view community as the most important pillar outside of that. That's why we're here. We've tried to build a booth that tries to make it the best experience possible for people to come and play. We listen to the community feedback all the time. We are the community in a lot of ways as well. So we're always looking for that mix of what would make us happy and then keeping our ears open to what makes the community happy. And can we actually make this space just better for everybody? That's our most important goal.
Everyone is so focused on making sure people have the best experience possible, and then it's really a game for the players.
It's so amazing after all the work that we've done to actually be saying hey, we're here at EVO and you can just play, you can just walk up and play, right? It's such an amazing experience to be at the granddaddy of all fighting game tournaments.
I mean, probably the thing that was most impactful to me, really the heart of the community, how grassroots it is. People coming together, organizing themselves, organizing their own tournaments, and how diverse it is. It just felt so different than anything I'd been exposed to before in terms of how much heart people put into it, how much work people put in, even for the passion of the community. I feel like it just blew me away more than anything I'd been exposed to before.
We have been working on this game for a long time, and we've been coming to EVO every year, right? And we've been coming because we love fighting games, we've been coming to compete. Suddenly, this year, we're finally getting to have people play the game, which is it's wild on 2 levels. One is just, suddenly, like you said, working here, being busy, right? Being on all the time. But the really wild part of it is actually getting people to play the game. When you make a game and you spend years, working on it on your own, iterating, trying stuff, getting, playing mostly internally, maybe a few small play tests, you just get this dream in your head. You just think more every day about what it'll be like when people finally get to play the game. And I have been dreaming of this moment, this EVO, for years. This is one of the 10 best days of my life.
Okay. Looking at this, it's good to kind of see that what they got going on. I think they said something very interesting to me that kind of stands out, is that like it's not as easy as just kind of pull them out the MOBA and put them in the fighting game. Which I remember having a conversation about that with one of the employees while I was there, and like, you know, it is all about fitting them, and they said the same thing. It's about fitting them into the game and make sure that they feel more like fighting game characters than just League of Legends characters. So like, they might have some differences in their kit, which, you know, Echo clearly is one of those things. His ult basically is active at all times with the Shadow or with the clone or whatever. So it is kind of unique how they do go about the cast members. So for me in particular, just everything I've just kind of gotten out of this is just more like, it's more, when is this going to be done? You know, I'm very interested in when they're going to finish this game so that I can finally play this thing. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely glad to see where this is coming. I'm glad to see it coming along very well. I'm hoping that, you know, while I have high expectations, I'm also going in with like, you know, I know nothing. I'm just kind of like, I'm just happy that it exists, because I played it at Evo, and I can tell you for sure it is a really good game. Like, it's already on to something that other fighting games haven't touched base on yet. So it's just, what's going to happen moving forward, you know what I mean? I'm just really curious about the future of the game from release on up, you know. So I'm obviously a big ProjectL enthusiast. You guys are going to see it on the YouTube channel. You're going to see it on my streams. You're going to see it all over my content. It's coming. But all in all, so far so good. It looks like the development of the game and the reception of the game was about what they expected in terms of what they had it to show at Evo. So that's a good thing too. So I mean, I'm just looking forward to this game. That's the most I could say. Like, I'm even with what they currently have, it's like, dang, you know, it's I don't know. I guess to me, to kind of add to it, I feel like it's also good to know that they're considering good combinations, meta, considering like the characters and the fuses and stuff like that. Like the fuses being the grooves. You know what grooves are, basically like different modes you can play with your teams, because they have different styles of play. So like, I don't know, like Capcom versus SNK. If you don't know about that game, look it up. They have different grooves, different modes. So like Alpha 3, you know, C-ism, V-ism, A-ism, Z-ism, P-ism, whatever. You know what I mean? They have different ways and different styles of ways that you can play the game. So that's a lot to consider for this game. So I'm glad to know that they're considering that. That does make me feel good to know that they're actually considering exactly that. So I'm looking forward to the game. Looking forward to it. With that being said, how do you guys feel about ProjectL? Who are you going to play? How you feel about this video? All that. Talk to me. Let me know how you're feeling about it in the comments below. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. More ProjectL to come on this channel. So sit tight. Don't worry. It's coming. But yeah. I'm going to get up out of here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.